Hi everyone, it's Tracy here from Art Fiber Stitch. I'm wanting to start a little bit of a upcycle project on this linen top. It is a linen cotton top and it is very well made, so it's a really good base. Now I'm wanting to do some slow stitch kind of something for it, and we've got to make a start. Well, the starting point was this fabric here. Now, I don't know if you recognize it, but I actually used it in the last video. It was on this hat. And it's just a different section. That's a really interesting thing if you look at a fabric and look at different sections of it for different colors and things. Anyway, I had that. And this one, very similar. But it'll need something else. Now, I'm looking at blues and turquoises. This one here is a ripply kind of one. And this one is a really green satin. And these are Balinese batik fabrics. And I like the turquoise colour. I think that would really give it a bit of zip. And this is a special fabric. And I just wanted to show you, see how even though that's cut off, I can cut out that little bit there. I'm just going to cut off a couple of inches here, a little strip on the bottom. And I'm going to get that little bird's head with that, I hope. And maybe some other little snippets we can use. So I'm just trying to build up a palette of colours and different interesting things. I've got some neutrally kind of colours and I'm wanting to perk it up with something brighter. Now remember what I'm actually putting it on. It's an avocado kind of green, like a very pale khaki, or olive kind of colour. So I'm wanting to jazz it up a little bit, bring it a little bit more colourful, but also to fit in with that background. So I'm looking at possibilities. I'm looking at what little fun snippets have I got that I can use. Look at that one with the blue berries. That's also from that strip I took off down the bottom of that lovely fabric. It's a linen. Now this here is actually a sleeve. I might use it. I don't know. Alright, so I grabbed another piece of fabric there that is also from that same piece that was in the hat. And this. These batiks, I really love them. And I think this one's going to be just perfect. See, it's just going to bring that little element of that colour in. I don't know about this ripply one, but look at that. We can see through it. I could spread it out and use it really. But let's have a closer look at this beautiful fabric. I like the idea that there are so many different colours in it, like the very, very pale ones or the deeper ones or the bright ones. So I can pick and choose what I want from this fabric. And I see things in it. I really see, well, here, I can see leaves and things, but also that there on the left just looks like a wave crashing. So let's get started. I've got this green satin. I quite liked it, but not a lot. I just want a tiny bit. I'm thinking if I fold it over, I could have it as a little kind of, what's the word? Not a binding, but something that's just going to be a little tiny border there like that. That would look good. I like that it separates those two materials. What I'm thinking to do is to make a long panel. And now you can see how I'm looking at how I might be able to join it. Either with the machine or by hand stitching. But see, that's a seam that I could do. But what about if I wanted to put something into the seam before I stitched it? Then that would be trapped, and that would be a good way to hold that down, that interesting netting or lace. So that's what I've done here. I've already joined it with the machine now. And now I've got all these other delicious bits and pieces that I can add to it. But I've got myself an interesting background where I've broken it up a bit, and but I think it'll be really nice on that top. So I'm just playing with the pieces now, thinking how could I put them? Where could I put them? Do I need to brighten it up? Do I need other areas to be darker or lighter, or So what I have is quite nice. Look at those berries. All right, so the first thing we did was choose some colors. Some that are more neutral or muted, some that are more attention-seeking, some that brighten it up, and but ones that will blend all together. And that's what we've got, I feel. I've just got to decide where and how I'm going to put these pieces on. But I'm liking the concept. I think we're going well. Right, so we've chosen our main bits of material on lace. I'm pinning it where I want those pieces to be. And I've started to look at what cottons I'll use. A similar sort of palette. I want a nice creamy one, but also some blues and some aqua colours and some greens. And that'll be pretty much it, I think. I've got some shiny, I've got some thicker, I've got some stranded, so I've got a little bit of variety already. So how are we going to do it? I'm wanting to bring in some slow stitch. Here's a teal crochet cotton that I'm going to use. It's like a pearl cotton, but thin enough to pull through. And can you see this piece here of Bali Batik cotton? I'm just turning the edges under, because I don't want these to be raw edges. I could put that there under that little flap that we made, or I could put that edge folded over as well and attach it down here. I think that's what I'd like. So rearranging, sometimes I overlap pieces, but see how it's telling that winding story that's going up. I've got it to the left, to the right, to the left, and it's sort of like a little vine growing up, of these more interesting fabrics. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to attach that piece, that first piece on top. Now, because I've got different fabrics, I've washed them all first, and I even washed that whole piece that we joined together first, just to make sure no colours were going to run, especially when we put it onto our top later. So what I'm going to do is just stick with some running stitch or some seed stitch. So running stitch for now, and I'm just going to do some random stitches that are longer and shorter, and a little run of stitches, and sometimes it'll be one stitch, but I'm going across this way, and then I'll go underneath and further down and bring my needle up and go back. So randomness is key, especially if you're not a perfect stitcher like I am. So I rather just get into it, and that's what I do. But with this, I like that blue and the teal colour that I've used is going out into that more muted background. It's blending it in, sort of, and it's also holding it down. Now that'll be good because all of the edges are already under, and it'll be totally stitched securely. You can see how I'm going out there, and I'll continue around the other side. Can you see? That's a good view. Now here I haven't sewn that edge down yet because I've just popped in a little piece of that linen. I'm not going to turn the edges under of those. I've decided to just fray them because they look nice like that. So let's get something else in. Can you see there's a touch of a nice yellowy green in that fabric? I think I might bring that in for a bit of brightness. And I've just done a running stitch around that little linen square. Well, there's plenty more to do. Far too much for this video. But look what we're going to end up with. Wow. I think that really makes that top, it's not too bright on it. It just brings more to it, brings more color to it. So see this panel we made? We could cut it in half. I could put a pocket or a patch anywhere. But decisions, that will come. I hope that's given you some ideas, and you might like to start doing something like this for yourself. We're going to continue this in part 2, do a little bit more stitching to really perk it up and get those patches sewn down. And then we'll be putting it on our top, making our own little bit of wearable art that we decorated ourselves. So thanks for watching. If you like, don't forget to like and subscribe.